What's up, guys? Back in the shop today. I think we'll do a repair. I got a freebie. Check this out. So what I got here is a Weedeater. Got this on Facebook Marketplace. It was advertised free as not running. So I said, well, I'll take that. I like saving things from the junk pile. And this is actually a nicer unit than my own. This is a pretty good looking Weedeater. Not a lot of miles on it by the looks of it. You can tell pretty quickly. Just look at the foam insert. That's original, and or I assume an OEM replacement, but nobody replaces those, and it's in great shape. So I don't think there'll be anything wrong with this that we can't fix. I guarantee it. But it's just a matter, is it price reasonable? So this is a two-stroke engine, a two-cycle engine. What that means is you have a combustion stroke for every round of the crankshaft. So on a four-stroke on a car, you have a combustion stroke every 2 rounds of the crankshaft, every 1 round of the cam. So these are pretty simple engines. There's not much to them. And actually, I can already see what's one thing that's wrong with it. This is your primer bulb that you use to push fuel into the carburetor. That's toast, and that's a bit of a problem because I have primer bulbs to wazoo, but I think this one is a bit of a special one. But maybe we can fix it. Let's get into it. Before we get into that, check this out. I got my welding cart all set up. What do you guys think of this? We got my plasma cutter, I've got my wire welder and my arc welder, and everything all laid out all nice. I've never had anything like this back when I was in the trade. This is just great for me. I'm quite happy. So they're just cheap welders and a really cheap plasma cutter. You'll see reviews if you haven't already on the channel. We'll give them a go. I've tested them out. The wire welder, the MIG, well, it's just a wire welder. It works great. So anyway, let's fix things. Alrighty, let's go ahead, get into it here. We might as well just go ahead and pull it apart. We can do some testing as well on this carburetor. Maybe we'll do that first. We can actually see whether it's likely that this carb is going to function. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, I think I changed my mind. I think rather than testing, what we'll do is we'll just address what I know is bad first, this primer bulb. Usually these carburetors need a kit, need a diaphragm and a pump stage, your main metering and your pump, but we might get away with it here. So the only reason I'm suspicious that I might get away without rebuilding the entire carb is the fuel that was in this smelled very fresh. I dumped it all out. It was full and smelled fresh, so that it might have been the first time they tried getting it going this year. Oh, so maybe just maybe we'll get away with it. Find a screwdriver that fits. I haven't had one of these style apart in a long time, so what I'm trying to do is take the end screw out of here. And this will allow us to remove that little guy. And then in theory, I don't remember what else we got to do to get that choke apart. It's going to be hard for me to get it on camera here. There's another screw. Do we have to take that out? No, I don't believe so. Oh, we do. Okay. Alright, it's got to come out. Another Phillips. There. That should allow us to take this whole plunger out. And maybe, just maybe, we can fix the primer. I'm not going to hold out a lot of hope, but we're certainly going to try. Okay. So to get the primer off, we're going to need the lines off. This primer, I remember, comes as a complete unit, this whole shaft. And it's definitely not something that anyone's going to have locally around me. So I'd have to order it, which is fine, but maybe try fixing it first. That line's getting a little hard, but not too bad. Okay, spring and washer. Take him, set it in the air cleaner for safekeeping. That sounds like a good spot. Actually, here, let me get parts tray. Get a parts tray going here, and then we won't lose track of all of our goodies. These magnetic parts trays are great. I actually have a couple new ones inbound as well, because I wanted a big flat one. Okay, this is our primer bulb, and I remember them coming as one complete unit, but maybe, just maybe, I can pry this apart. I might be able to pop that collet off and replace the bulb itself. I have lots of bulbs, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a try. Let's see. Okay, no joy. That, as I expected, it was kind of a Hail Mary. I went ahead and sliced the bulb off and tried to pull this. It'll be thermally bonded or glued or whatever, this cap. And I tried to yank that off of there and punch it through and you name it. No joy. So what we'll do, we know we need this, but we can buy this separate and we can buy a kit. So let's find out, do we need a kit? And I think the odds are we probably do, but let's find out. And then if this thing is worthwhile, we'll go ahead and order one if it looks like it's going to be a good unit. And of course, the only size missing of Allen key is the one that I need. What up with that? All right, got the right Allen key this time. Go ahead and spin this thing apart. There's nothing to pulling these things apart, really. Like, nobody needs to be scared that the basics, well, we're going to cover them here. Ideally, we should be able to take this thing and make it go again and cover all the basics, but anybody can do it. You out there, you watching, you can do this. I guarantee it. Okay, so let's just check what goes bad. The almost guaranteed to be bad, almost always bad. This is going to be our main metering stage, our diaphragm, and because of the ethanol in the fuels, fuel around here is 10% ethanol, up to 10%, and the ethanol chews up carburetors. It is very rough on things. It not only does that, it not only destroys diaphragms and makes them go hard, it also is hydroscopic and attracts water and stores water very nicely, which in turn destroys everything. Okay, this is our diaphragm. Let's see if we can get him to come out of there without destroying it. Come on. I have to do this off camera. My apologies. I got to go poking. Alright, I got it separated. Probably going to destroy it just trying to get it off of here. Diaphragms don't take kindly to being messed with after. Actually, this one's feeling not bad. Nope, she's hooped. So this is your diaphragm. It operates on this wonderful little device here, which is your needle. This is the needle arm pivot point, and the needle is vertical right here. When I push down on that, it lifts the needle up, allows fuel in. When I lift it off, the needle closes, stops fuel. That's the job of this wonderful little diaphragm. But when they're gone rock hard, that should be very, very flexible. And it is not. So that is garbage. She needs a new one. That's nothing surprising at all, but a very, very easy fix, in fact. What side have we got? The diaphragm goes above the gasket on this. No, it doesn't. They had that in backwards? The diaphragm's supposed to be above the gasket, and in this case it's down below. Anyway, we'll figure that out when we go to assemble it. But I'm just going to set things back together, and we will, what I'll do is we'll pick this up when we get some parts. That is going to require a kit, and then we'll get into the pump stage. We'll get this all cleaned up in the ultrasonic cleaner, and yeah, we'll see if we can make this thing run. Actually, there's one more thing. Let's check a bit more. Let's not give up just yet. Let's make sure that this thing is really worth our time. Let's get the borescope out. Okay, the review should already be up on the channel on this little borescope. I absolutely love it. This thing is fantastic. It's just wonderful. Okay, so we should be able to just go down through here and take a look and see what we're up against. So there we are heading in, and that is our piston down there. So we'll go ahead, let's see if we can make camera die completely. What up with that? Okay, I think my phone just died. Well, that's annoying. Trying again. Well, my phone ponders its life choices and decides what it's going to do. We can go ahead and pull the spark plug out, because it's going to make it a lot easier to have a look at the cylinder. We're not going to see too much. We'll see the side of the piston, but only one side through the intake hole there. We want to have a better look, so let's just pull it apart and knock everything flying, because that's what I do. Okie dokie. Let's try this again. Okay, we should be recording. In theory, should be able to synchronize these two. Let's go have a look. What are we up against? Not too shabby. So we're looking at the top of the piston here and our ports and a little bit of the cylinder wall, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of anything. Where's my light adjust? Let's see if we can adjust the intensity of the LEDs a little bit. Not that much. Come on now. The little adjuster for the LEDs isn't the best, but what can you expect for a $10 borescope, eh? Let's see if we can turn the end of the borescope a little bit and see the cylinder wall. And we can. No big scratches, no big scratches. Some marks there, but I think that's reflections maybe? It's not a vertical scoring, so I'm not too concerned about it. I'm not seeing anything here. This thing looks like it's in good shape. I don't see anything to be concerned about. And it's lots of oil in there. I like that. That's good. It's not dry. It's not corroded. I think we're in good shape. I say we order some parts, and let's go ahead and fix this thing up. I see no reason we can't save this. You know what? One more thing before, maybe two more things. Before we go spending a bunch of money, well, not a bunch, a little bit of money, let's just double check and make sure we got spark. To do that, we'll just use this plug. We just need it touching ground, not in the off position. And it's not strong, but it's there. Can you see it? Can you see it? Yeah, it's there. So, ooh, that does smell like stale gas. So we got spark. That's good. That's pretty much all you need on a small engine. Everything else is easy to fix. So let's do yet again one more thing. You want to run it? We can run it. We don't need no stinking carburetor. Leave the carb off. We will, let's give it a drink right down through the top. We can give it a drink through the intake here, but then we got to soak the whole bottom end, and that's a whole big thing. So we'll just take, this is just 2-cycle fuel, which is just gas mixed with oil, and we'll just go ahead and give it a little drink. And then we'll go ahead and set the plug back down in there, and hopefully things don't take fire too much, because I did spill a little bit. And then in theory this should just go zoom, and there's lots of oil in there as we saw with the borescope, so I don't have any concerns that way. Yep, Yep, that's where they wanted to go live. Okay. We don't need throttle, we don't need anything. Let's go. And now we know it runs. So, no carb needed. We know that runs. It sounded okay. Nothing too crazy. Recoil works. This thing is going to be completely serviceable. Just a carb kit, I think. I see no reason that we're going to have to go any deeper. I did see a little bit of fuel around the cap, around the vent, around the around the sphincter valve here. They have a little sphincter valve in the middle of them to allow air in but not allow gas out. And I've seen them go bad before. But that's a minor thing. It could have just been spillage, but yeah, we know this thing is going to run. Let's fix it. Okay, quite a few weeks later, might even be a month or two now. Got a new bench top installed, just did that the other day. Oh, pretty happy with that. But some parts arrived from China. I got my rebuild kit with the new primer bulb and this silly long choke operation rod, and then our diaphragm kit. So what we'll do is we'll take this carb and get it ready to clean up. I've got the ultrasonic cleaner set up over here and warming up. That should be good to go, and we'll just go ahead and plunk this in. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this thing back apart. I can't remember whether I did the full disassembly on the other video or not. But if not, here it is. We'll go ahead and take our needle out. I'm pretty sure I didn't take that out last. Actually, hold on. I'm going to measure the height of that needle real quick. A quick look on this gauge. I don't know whether it's the right gauge for this. I haven't even bothered to check, but truthfully, I don't care that much. We're just below level. So that's where I expect almost universally all needle arms to be. Usually it's going to be level with the carburetor, so that's fine. We can go ahead and pop that out. Now you don't have to take the carb apart all the way and do this on yours. You can leave the needle in, and really we don't need to disassemble this carb. The problem is universally just the diaphragms, but yeah, it seems how we've got an ultrasonic cleaner and it's warming up, we might as well use it and do the job the whole way. So I'll go ahead and pop everything apart. Most of the screws into aluminum like this don't generally give too much trouble coming out. Just a little, press down a little bit with your screwdriver and they should just come right out. If we thread them all the way out. Oh, come on, one's still holding. We'll get her. We'll get her. That one's still holding. Look at the long bloody screws. Okay, there's our goofy diaphragm with our pump flaps right there. They need to seal tight against this aluminum, and I would imagine they are toast. We know the other diaphragm was toast. Usually these pump flaps aren't a hell of a lot better. So make note when you take these apart, your pump itself, the film side is going to be right against your aluminum, and then there's going to be a gasket on the back side. That way your pump can actually get down and seal. If you put it together wrong, it is not going to work. Get this gasket off of there. Good. And this is our pump. And it's actually not bad, this one. It still feels good. It's about the kind of the consistency of thin film negative, if you're of that vintage that you remember such materials. In a time such as the 80s, possibly. Maybe even, I guess, 90s. All right. There's a screen in here, our fuel filter screen. Don't take them out. It's not worth it. It's totally not clogged. It's fine. There's no need to mess with that. We can take our mixture screws out if we want. Ideally, it's probably a good idea to take those out. So let's do so. Okay, found the right tool. These are just cheap ones from eBay or wherever. They're carb adjustment tools. And it's a splined one that fits on there. So we'll go ahead and I'm just going to check where this one was at. This is going to be... Is this our high side or our low side? I think that's our high side. Let's find out where we're at. I'm going to guess probably 1 1/4 turns. 1... No, there's a half. There's 3/4. 1 3/4 on that one. Let's pop that out. I was just counting the rotations till it seats. Pop that out. No spring. This one. 1. Pretty much the exact same, 1 3/4. So that should be easy to set. Perfect. Any difference between our mixture screws? Does not look like it. Oh, there is. Subtle difference. Subtle difference. One slightly longer to the back side. Okie dokie. Let's put her in the bath. Okie dokie. In the drink. And let's give it 10 minutes. Go. Done. Okie dokie. Let's see what we got. What have we got in our soup of goodies? Excuse me. Youch. That's some hot aluminum. How'd we do? That looks plenty good enough to me. Oh, I didn't notice. Why for throttle so stuck? That ain't right. What's going on? Huh. I didn't notice that when I was taking it apart. Did you guys notice the throttle was sticking? That's no bueno. Must be just because it's so hot. We'll let it cool down. It must be, yeah, it's probably because the brass rod is dissimilar than the big aluminum block that's hotter than the hubs of heck right now. Oh yeah, this'll do. I'd say everyone's a winner today. Yeah, that'll do. Let's go ahead and clean things up. Okie dokie. I'd say things look pretty darn reasonable here. Did our throttle free up? It's only been a couple minutes, and yeah, it's freeing up now. So it must have just been too hot. There's a little bit of gookies on here. We'll clean up. That should be fine to see the gasket on right now. It's fine. Okay, let's have a look. Our pump cover. It's got little raised edges here to make sure that it seals. It's fine. Didn't even have to move the idle screw. We'll just have to be careful putting it back together. Okay, let's go. We want a spring for our needle, and that spring, I believe, goes there. I know this is not going to be the best lens and the best view for you guys, but I'll do the best I can. Oh. This is always a little bit of a fight. I might pause the video here while I wrestle this into place. Okay, that's finally in where we want it to be, and took a little bit of wrestling. But yeah, I just had to take the glove off, and that was a little easier. That looks low to me. Let's see. Oh, nope. We're actually fine. We're right where we want to be. I know that's going to be tough to get on camera, but just below the flat. And pushing down, opens our needle, and letting up, closes. Okay, go ahead and put our mixture screws back in. Long one to that side. And 1 3/4 turns out from seated should get us in the ballpark. Probably won't even have to adjust them because we made note of that. But there's lots of adjustment videos out there on the internet if you need to adjust yours. And they're seated on both of them. Perfect. There's 1 turn, 3/4. 1 turn, 3/4. That should be pretty close. Is our throttle working? No, it is not. Our throttle is still binding. That is no bueno. We got to fix that. Maybe this thing sat dry longer than what I thought. That's fine for... No, I gotta do something about that. We can pop it out, take that screw out, and then take the shaft out, or we can just see if we can blow out whatever got in there. Probably a little bit of cruddies from the bath. Yeah, I'll fix that. Let's get the pump stage together first before we get any goopies intruding in here that shouldn't be. Because this could be easily contaminated and then it won't pump. Looks good. Are we over our ports? Yes. You can also take 1000 grit sandpaper and tidy this up where the pump flaps seat. If there's any corrosion on there, there is none on this, so they should seal just fine. See no reason to mess with it any more than necessary. Now there's... Oh, this throttle being sticking might be a good thing right now. Get it to stay open. This has locator dowels that go down through these gaskets here. And should be doing it from the back side. Let's do it the right way. Let's do it the right way. Should be setting this on here and then setting the carb down on top of it. That's what we should be doing before we end up crinkling this pump. There we go. Perfect. Done deal. Yeah, get some screws in there. Be all set. Come back in a second. Okay, there was definitely just a little gookie in there. What I did is I just took a little bit of WD-40 and sprayed it to use it as a cleaner, and then hit it with my compressed air. And you can see this is... Oh, maybe you can't get a grip on it. My gloves are slippery. You can see that snap back all the way to idle now. Lots of authority. So there's just a little piece of gunk binding up. I suspect it's that cleaner I'm using. That I think it's the Castrol stuff I put in there. So I may swap that out from the ultrasonic and end up using just water and probably windshield washer fluid, winter washer fluid, because it's going to be down to freezing in here, not too far away. Okay, let's see. How'd we do? There's just a little over 7 psi, and our diaphragm is not holding. That's no good. We got a leak. That's actually a fail. That is no good. We got to figure this out. We have either the pump stage or something's leaking. Okay, we're back together, and what I did is I just popped the needle back out and put it back in. There must have been a tiny piece of junk got in there. I don't know how. I didn't see anything, but we're not leaking down now, so hold 7 pounds, no problem. Happy. So that should work just sweet. No problemos. Okay, somewhere in here we've got a spring of a thing that goes on our primer bulb here, and then our primer should go down in from this side, and I do believe, nope, we're missing a piece. We're missing something for that spring to seat against. That looks, that looks more gooder. Little plastic piece. Okay, down through from the throttle side. Something like so. Okay. What do we button up against? There. Okay. Now we need, there should be a black plastic piece with a screw and a silver metal piece with a screw. That's for here. Something like so. That stops it from turning. Okay, now what are we missing here? We're missing something big, right? We're missing a choke plate or something, right? No. Oh, yeah. That's how it operates on the... Okay. I think I got it. I think we can... Oh, crap. If we hold our tongue just right, I think we can go ahead and put that guy in right now. I'm not sure whether we can get the other bracket in after, but I guess we'll find out. It's been a long time since I took this apart. Very, very, very long time. That should be the right screw for there. It's the right thread anyway. Yeah, that looks good. Now, this is the little high idle assembly. This goes like so. Like so. It's got to go under here. It would curve up into it. I know you guys can't see much because my fingies is in the way. I apologize, but can I? Yeah. Okay. You put that on first. The work. Put that on first. Then tighten this screw in. And then in theory, the choke, the primer arm will just go right over top of it and latch it up on a high idle. And then it'll pull from the main discharge jets for power enrichment. Or, well, for zingy startup anyway. Technical term. Technical. Okay, click. Do we? Ow! You keep your finger out from the backside. Oops, that hurt. Okay, push primer. It should latch up on the top side. And then if we give it some throttle, it should pop right off. And it does. Ha! Sweet. We rollin'. We rollin'. Now we had 50-50 odds. Did we get that thing in the right way? I just got to remember which way is the output. We had 50-50. Did we get it right? I believe so. I believe the larger... Yeah, I believe the larger... You can hardly see it down in there. The convex shape was on this side. So I'm pretty sure we got it right. Pretty sure. Guess we'll find out. If the primer bulb doesn't prime, we'll know. But I'm pretty sure we got it right. Okay. Click down. Fast. Click throttle. Off. Done deal. Ha! Except we put that on backwards. That came off this way. You can tell by the marks in there. We could change that tubing too, but it's actually pretty flexible still. It's actually pretty good steel. So yeah, there we go. We good. Throttle. Click. Up goes the primer. Done. Let's put it back together. Before we put it back on, since we have a pressure tester, let's use it. Again, you don't need this tool, but I have one, so let's use it. Take it up. There's a little over 7 psi. Does it hold? Yes, sir. We winning. We got the wiener. That's good. Okay, just check and see if my carb kit came with a base gasket. I don't think it did. Might have to reuse that old one. So I always want to be careful. Yeah, sure enough, it didn't. No base gasket. Huh. Wasn't that poopy? Cheap Chinese. Huh. Oh well. So be it. Let's go ahead and put it together. Okay, got that wrestled in there now. The throttle cable is really goofy. It comes around the corner here. And it seems like a really silly setup, but who am I to judge, right? Who am I to judge? Okay, and then this big goofy conflagration can go on for the airbox, but first we'll pop it out. Now that we have some screws through there, we can use that to stabilize our base gasket, which should go like so. Yeah, it's got 2 cutouts, 2 holes, but that is not the way it came off. Oh, it is. Yeah, there's the... Can you see that? Can you see the divots that are cut into it from where it used to live? You want to make sure you put it back on in the same orientation if you have to reuse it. So otherwise, it's going to leak for sure. So we'll set that up. Move that fuel line out of the road. Start these big, long, goofy wood screw looking things down through, but we got to wrestle our throttle cable back on this silly rubbing block first. There. And then we'll take a look and make sure our gasket stayed in place. Did it? It appears to. Yeah, looks good on the top and the bottom. And we'll run these big cheap junk screws in, but hey, whatever, these things work for a long time. I shouldn't knock them. This one doesn't look like it has a lot of miles on it. I don't know whether I mentioned that in the beginning, but I don't think this Weedeater has run very long at all. It looks very new. Okay, we're down. This fuel line has to go underneath the airbox. These holes are where the airbox draws in air, and then hold on, I'll get this done up first before it gets forgotten or whatever and dangles fuel all over the place. And this guy, we're working on the wrong side of a camera here. There we go. That guy goes on there. Okay, so our air comes up from the back side here through these holes into our air cleaner, through the foam, and get rid of our little caterpillar friend. Caterpillar friend gone. I put that on upside down. Does it matter? Matters for the look of the breather, but I don't think so. I don't think it would fit the other. Oh, I did too. So there we go. Dirt. Try that again. It can go on either way, but it only fits one way around the fuel tank, so let's go ahead and fix that. Okay, with the airbox on the correct way this time, somewhere we have an air filter. We don't have to clean that out. It's plenty clean. And this should clip under here this time. Label facing upright. Handy dandy. The label's still on it, so that really kind of tells me that this thing probably don't have very many miles on it. Clunk down at the bottom of the tank. Filter. RC, we used to call them a clunk. Probably because they just go clunk clunk. We'll give it a little bit of this super fancy fuel from TSC. This is True Fuel, 40 in 1. It's basically just really expensive gas with no ethanol in it. I have lots of no ethanol fuel, but this is what's handy at the bench. And we'll go ahead and push our primer bulb and see if we get fuel. Prime. And we're getting a little bit of gas, and there's our fuel. We're getting fuel. Yep, that's working. Let's take it out and see if it works. Okie dokie. Needs a little bit more setup. Okay, that's about it. So you want to take your low speed in until you get your highest idle, and then back it out just a little bit, fatten it up a little bit, a little rich. And on the high side, you want to run it in until it really starts to scream, and then back it out till it starts to what we call four-stroking. Give it a little burble, but this should start now. So that's just a little on the rich side, a little fat. That's what that burbling is on the high end, but that's what we want. That's easy on the engine. Okay, that's ready for service. I'll give it a little cleanup. I'll run the fuel out of it. I'm going to use it on my lawn right now, and we'll sell this off on Marketplace or whatever for a few bucks, and somebody else can have some enjoyment out of it too. Cheers, guys. That's perfect.